The life of a graphic designer goes way beyond creating birthday cards and logos. It's a career for people who love art, they love photography, and they love creating beautiful things. My name is Nicole Francino, and I will be presenting an infographic on how to create graphics. So up top, we have how our system of creating graphic works. It starts with a client comes up with an idea, and then they contact a designer. And together the client and the designer brainstorm ideas together. The designer goes back and she does some research about who the audience is, what kind of message they're trying to convey, the colors, the fonts, everything that the client might like in their graphic. And so once the research is done, designers grab a sketchbook and they make some thumbnails on what this graphic will look like. It's just real rough thumbnails, and it's just to get the ideas out there, see what they could come up with before they design it up and take it to online and working with their programs such as Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator. They come up with a bunch of those different mocks, they pick the best one, they send it to the client to get some feedback, and then the client gives them some feedback to make some edits, and once those edits are made, the designer sends it back to the client, hoping that everything was okay. Of course, everything needs some adjustments, and then hopefully once the client is liking what they have received, the designer makes a profit out of that. So that is how the system of a graphic designer and how they create graphics work. Now down at the bottom I have 4 different charts. And the first one is potential jobs, and we have some top jobs of 2016 for people in the graphic design field. The first one is specialized design, and they make $54,620 about in a year. And then the second one is advertising PR, and that's where graphic designers work for companies, bigger companies who need advertisements and PR sent out to their social media. They make about $53,900 a year. And then we have printing, and printing is designers who know how to use printers and they know the difference in colors, because oftentimes what you see on the computer is not what comes out of a printer, so they know everything about that, white space, bleeds, everything like that, and they make about $41,000. And then going back up the chart, we have publishing, that's all your newspapers, your magazines, stuff like that, at $46,000. And then the highest paid designers are web designers, because that requires HTML and CSS programs. And then we move on to the skills required for designers. The top 3 are Photoshop, InDesign, and Illustrator. And then employers also look for you to have Microsoft Office, as well as print design, typography, CSS and HTML, web design, of course, photography, and branding. Now, moving on to getting your degree, down here at the bottom, there are about 87% of employers that require their graphic designers to have their degree, as well as some experience. That is mostly for like the bigger companies. They do want who they're hiring in to have the best experience and at least 3 years of that. We'll get to that shortly. To make sure they're sending out the best graphics possible to their audience. And then on the other hand, there are about 52% of employers who are just like, well, you can have experience, you don't necessarily need a degree. Now moving on to getting experience, you do need experience to get hired. They're not going to hire a graphic designer who has no idea what they're doing. So you peak at about 3 years experience. That's when your salary is the greatest. And that's where the hiring really begins for most graphic designers. So that is my graphic design info chart. Thank you so much for watching.